Welcome back, UFL fans, spring football fans. Week 1 is already in the books. Let's give our team rankings for what they're worth out of the only week 1. Number 8, the Houston Roughnecks. My goodness, nothing's changed from the CJ Johnson area. I mean, this is pitiful to see because CJ Johnson, who was a Super Bowl champ, I believe, with the New Orleans Saints, and won a college football national championship with my Miami Hurricanes back in 2000. So what I'm seeing from him, it's just disappointing. I wonder if no one else could get one of the job, but I got the Roughnecks at number 8. Number 7, I have the defending XFL champion, the San Antonio Brahmas. Maybe Wade Phillips, who was in the press box coaching from there, should go back to the sidelines. I thought that was the game of the week, the most close game of the week, but that turned out to be terrible. San Antonio looked terrible. They're number 7. Number 6, I got the Memphis Showboats. The defense does look stronger, but their offense against that tough Michigan team wasn't that good. I'm going to hold off totally commenting for them because their coach, Wizen Hunt, went on personal leave, so I'm not going to be too hard on them yet, but they're number 6. Number 5, the Birmingham Stallions, the world champions, the 3-time defending world champions at number 5. Again, this is week 1. Take it for what it's worth. They are a better team than this, but DC Defenders made Alex Magoo leave punch drunk. Let's see who we got there. Number 14. I'm going to go with the St. Louis Battlehawks because their opponent, the Houston Roughnecks, wasn't much of an opponent. They're a good team the way Birmingham is, but I can only give so much adoration for a team that beat the Roughnecks. Number 3, I am going with the Michigan Panthers. Michigan seems to have a solid team, and I think with Bryce Perkins at quarterback, that makes them a much better team as opposed to having Etling or E.J. Perry, who's now with the Memphis Showboats. Number 2, I'm going with the Arlington Renegades. They smacked around the defending XFL champion like it was nothing. Louis Perez looked good. The defense was dominant. I had the number 2, and of course number 1. It may be a bias in a lot of people's eyes, but my DC Defenders are number 1. Coming in with your coach leaving just over 10 days ago, to come in and to dominate the 3-time defending champion the way they did was just incredible. To sack Alex Magoo 8 times, pick him off a few times, fumble him, and on top of that, Jordan Tamu, who was sacked so many times last year on that horrible offensive line, I don't believe he was sacked once today. That offensive line, that revamped offensive line, which is the biggest question going for the DC Defenders this year, look good against that good team. So they're number 1. Now, what can we take away from week number 1? 1, are the Defenders that good? Or did the Birmingham Stallions have a rare off week? Because according to Skip Holtz, he thinks this team has been in last year's team that got him a 3-peat. That says a lot. I mean, those are some good teams. And plus, I got Alex Magoo back. So, that's the only question that stood out for me. Number 2, what was up at the end of the game with the DC Defenders coach going off like he was ready to start a fight? Skip Holtz looked confused. I mean, I saw him going off. I saw the interview at the end of the game with ESPN, and that was it. It was off to the next sporting event. They didn't mention any in the press conference either, which I found pretty odd. I thought that would come up. I didn't hear anything unless I was doing a few things, so maybe I missed it. I don't know. But what was up with that? Let's see. Nothing. Oh, the Renegades logo on the helmet is back. Thank you. That is so much better of a logo than that old pharmacy-looking logo they had on the last 2 years. XFL Commissioner Johnson, if that was your idea, whoever idea was, thank you. Thank you. Another thing that stands out. Why is C.J. Johnson still coaching? I just can't picture what made him think this year would be any different from the last 2 years. The team looks the same. I mean, it's pitiful. From the days of June Jones and P.J. Walker and Cam Ward to what this team has become. Sorry. I'm going to call it as I see it. It's terrible to see. Something else that stood out. Oh, technology. Body cameras are no longer for just law enforcement officials. The chest cam, which we saw this week, was pretty far out. It was something to see. I enjoyed it very much. And the second thing along that line was the new True Line technology, where chains are no longer used to measure a first down. It is done based on where the referee places the ball, and they measure from there by a computer. It's about time. I mean, when you think about it, I'm surprised it took them this long to come up with this technology. Maybe I'm being too hard, but I like it very much. So good job on the XFL on that part. Another thing that stood out, the access. The access up in the press box with the coordinators is pretty far out. This league is supposed to be different from the NFL. I'm grateful for that. I mean, I wouldn't like this so much if I saw it for the NFL game. But for the UFL, I do like it. I think the league should be different than the NFL. And speaking of, I was a big proponent of the XFL kickoff years ago. I was mad when the UFL didn't have it last year. And now that the NFL is using it, I can see why they brought it back. Is because they want their players to be picked up by the NFL based on what they're doing. The only problem is I want to be different from the NFL too. So now I do miss the old USFL rules for the kickoff instead. But I get why the UFL is doing it. So what else stood out this weekend? The revamped offensive line for the Defenders. That was something to see. Abram Smith has come back from a knee injury from last year. He looked okay. He had a good year 2 years ago. I mean, where they went 9-1 or 10-1 or 10-2 if you include the disastrous championship game. Abram Smith was a beast that year for the Defenders. It's only week 1. They were playing the Stallions, who's a very good team. And no doubt to me, still the favorite to win the 4-peat. But that DC offensive line looked real good. Memphis, despite their coaching change, looked pretty good. They had to play a very tough Michigan team. That's a good Michigan team. Something else, Bryce Perkins at quarterback. Please leave him there for the sake of the league. Danny Etley and E.J. Perry were boring. Bryce Perkins brings a lot to that team. Manny Wilkins looked real good in his first game replacing A.J. McCarron. His legs are going to be a big asset. And the other thing is, I cannot believe no one's picked up A.J. McCarron yet. And I think A.J. McCarron wants to be back in the league, and I think he wants to be in the same division so he can play St. Louis twice. I'm a big A.J. McCarron guy. I love... my only problem with A.J. McCarron is he played for Alabama. I'm not an Alabama fan. But he's a good guy. He's a good quarterback. He was a good ambassador for this league. I would like to see him back. And I'm sorry, after what I saw from the Houston quarterbacks and the San Antonio quarterbacks, why is A.J. McCarron still not picked up? Baffling to me. Let's see, what else can we talk about? Battlehawks look good. We discussed that already. Defenders. And I think we'll leave it at that. The one thing I have to figure out, how can I mess this one up? The attendance was absolutely terrible. Not even 5,000 people showed up at Liberty Bowl Stadium. I think it was 49-30 something, the final total. I understand they're doing a renovation, but I also heard there was supposed to be possible thunderstorms around game time, which down there that time of year is pretty brutal. You don't want to sit out there for it. I don't know what the stadium underneath looks like, if it's really good, so that might have hurt. But we also kicked off on the weekend of the Sweet 16 Elite 8 as well as baseball season. I don't understand what the league is thinking. Should have been in February. 7,100 people only appeared in Houston for that game, but that was the same night on campus where the Houston Cougars were playing their Sweet 16 game, so they didn't have a shot. And it's been a while since the Houston Cougars have had a good team, and I knew that was going to be a big problem, and it was 7,100 people. And we had over 10,100 for Arlington. Like I say, Arlington's always been consistent with the attendance. They always seem to be in that 12 to 13,000 range. And finally, the DC Defenders had the biggest crowd at 12,200. But even for them, that is low. We usually get about anywhere from 14 to 16,000. And to start the league against the three-time defending champions, I gotta say that crowd was also disappointing. Now, as I said about Washington, it's just like New York. It's a show-me state. Show me we can win, and we'll come out. Well, you just beat the three-time defending champion. Next week, you have a home game, I think Friday night against the Memphis Showboats. I would like to think, after this win, the fans will start coming out again for DC. The only other thing to talk about really is something we won't know until Tuesday, and that is the ratings. I'm hoping the ratings were at least very solid on this competitive weekend. Anyway, if I missed anything, let me know. Comments down below. For the love of football, we'll talk to you later.